Welcome to Yarn Lane. We are the only, we're the only channel, topping channel, dedicated exclusively to everything yarn, whether it be knitting or crochet or animal making or anything like that. And you are loving it. You are so loving it. And look at me. I'm loving it today. Look, the three of us are 3 degrees. Aren't these beautiful? Now, I need to warn you, whenever Sam is on, Sam Sabido is on, everything flies out the door. So, and today is no exception. I'm going to go straight to the website to show you where you can buy these now, because they're beautiful. They're gorgeous. You can only see 3 of them here. There is another one that's Sam's wearing, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. So if you go to the Yarn Lane website, you click on Watch the Show Live. Now, we had them on pre-order earlier. They're now on. Everything's on today's show deal. So look, you've got the 4 different colorways. That's the one that Sam's wearing. You'll see in a second. Then we've got that mine, which is the bestseller. What's mine called? Summer Nights. Surf Summer Nights. Lovely. Then we've got Mermaid. Mermaid and Ice Cream, the other 2. There they are. Gorgeous, aren't they? Absolutely fantastic. That's it. So what you do is click on there, put it in your basket. Remember, if you've bought something from Sewing Street this morning, your P&P is dealt with. It's the same, even though it's a different company, they come from the same warehouse. So now, let's say hello to Sam, first of all. We love these. We just love these. Aren't they fantastic?
Oh, thank you.
So, is it granny squares?
It is, yeah, like a twist on a granny square.
Yeah.
So you've got the granny squares here and on the back.
Yeah.
And then you work round in rows for the rest of it.
I love the colourway of yours just brings me joy.
Great.
And I think when I heard that one was black, I was like, oh, I'm not sure if it, not that I'm an expert, but you know what I mean? I'm thinking, but the colours in that are just,
yeah, just
we'll go through all the colours
so
in a second, because we've got 4 different colourways. Let me put them through so we can have a look at them, and then we can talk about how to make them. Right, okay, so that's Arcade. The one that Sam's wearing is called Arcade. So what you get in your bag is you get, oh, this feels nice. Oh, this is cotton.
Such nice, yes.
100% cotton. This is antique gold. Oh, these colours are lovely. Azure. Hot pink. That's Hannah. And black. Oh, no, 2 of those. And you get instructions. The only thing you don't get in here is your crochet hook. That's my terminology for crochet. So everything is in there. You need to, okay, the crochet hook depends on the size that you're making. Oh, clever. So now, what sizes are they? So the small is ladies 8 to 12, which is, well, you won't see because it's on the mannequin behind me. Medium, 14 to 18. And large, 20 plus. Right, so what have I got
You've got the large on.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I've got the large on. This is 20 plus. I mean, you make it however you want.
Exactly.
You could be an 8 and still make this one, because you might want it full,
you'd have it
mightn't you, and
bigger,
everything.
exactly.
But you do need your different hook sizes for your different sizes there. So that's that one. That's Arcade. Why is it called Arcade?
Well, I decided to name them all after the idea of a summer holiday, and then it was the colours they reminded me of. So yeah, so Arcade, nice.
Isn't it
and
funny?
bright,
I think of Arcade,
out at night.
I automatically think of a shopping arcade.
Oh,
not a lovely arcade at the beach.
Well, my mum and dad have got a static caravan in Clacton, and there's an arcade there, and it's all bright lights.
Oh,
and
lovely! That's
kids
perfect.
love it. So yeah.
So next, surf. This is the most popular. This one's the most popular. This one. So this one you get. Sax. Oh, we've seen that one before, haven't we? We've seen that colour before.
We've seen that colour, different yarn.
Yeah, that's right.
But the
right,
same make.
Sage. That's a very washed out sage, but beautiful. Sky. Oh, look. That's beautiful as well. Don't tell me it's just called navy. Or French navy. French navy. So you get all that. There's another one of those. Plus the instructions. Same instructions. I won't get those out. So that one is called surf. Like surf. I was going to say surf and turf, but I can't think of anything worse.
Like the waves.
Oh, yeah, like the waves, like the waves. Like the beach. Oh,
yes.
the beach. Oh,
yeah.
I love the beach. Right, okay. And then next is ice cream. That's this one here next to me on this side. Oh, that's close to the second. That's very close second place. Rose. Is that sage again now?
Yeah.
Sage again. Then we've got Cloud. Oh, that's a nice name, isn't it? Then, oh, that's a lovely colour. Ecru. Oh, now. You see, we had a fabric earlier called ecru, and I thought, that's not ecru, that's ecru. But and you get 2 of those. They're lovely colours, those,
Really
aren't
lovely,
they?
aren't they?
This is very close in second place, this one. And then last but not least, so when you go on your holiday, you're in the surf, in the water, then you go and play on the arcade,
Exactly.
then you meet an ice cream,
Yeah.
and then you meet a mermaid.
Well, I often end up burying my children in the sand and making a mermaid tail.
Oh, not in a nice way.
I can pretend that, yeah, not the whole body, bottom half.
And inspired by me, apparently.
Exactly.
The name mermaid.
I heard you talking about the jumper in the similar colourways.
Yeah. Violet. Oh, these are lovely colours, aren't they? Opal. Oh, magenta. And then your 2 balls in this one are silver. Again, you get the whole, everything. You get the lovely calico bag. You get all the cotton yarn. You get everything. Now, this yarn feels beautiful. Is there anything special?
It's just the nicest cotton I've ever worked with. It's called Cotton Soft.
Yes.
And it really is such a beautifully soft yarn. So it's it's a more expensive yarn, but it's just so lovely to work with. And when I was designing these ponchos and talking to Rebecca about them, we talked about acrylic, but this cotton just hangs so nicely and it's really comfortable to wear. Elliot was really impressed by how comfortable it was earlier.
Oh.
And it's soft. It's the softest. I mean, often you think with cotton, it can be a bit firmer, but this is just so soft.
As soon as I touch that first one, you know it's quality.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're wearing it, it just feels really luxurious.
Fabulous. So. Right, okay, I'll keep you updated and I'll bring some other things to you later, but let's get on with the crochet.
Okay, brilliant.
Oh, hang on, I've got a picture of your family.
Oh.
Now, this isn't all of them, is it?
This isn't all. One of them was photography.
Oh, yes.
Photographing us.
Yes. So take us through.
So your littlest one is Olive, wearing the mermaid. She's 9. And then there's my daughter Anna next to her. She's 13. Me, obviously. Yeah. And my eldest son, Jake, who's 16. And I was just amazed that he agreed to wear it. But he did.
For you to put it on social media, it's fine wearing it in the back garden as a joke.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then the husband is?
Husband, John.
John, it's called John.
Yes,
I don't know why I'm pointing to me, it's not me. It's not me, but it's called John. But is there another one?
I've got a son called Leo. He took the photograph.
Okay.
I couldn't get the husband involved this time.
Oh, okay. Because I kind of remember last time you took pictures.
Well, last time there was 6
one
of
more,
us. That's right. Yeah, I got four children. So yeah.
You don't look old enough. I can't go over it. Anyway, right. Okay.
Okay.
So we've seen the picture. Let's get on. So
okay.
You're making.
I'm going to demonstrate in the surf colourway. So I've just to show you what we're heading towards, but we'll start at the basics. Yeah. So you start with 6 squares and you join 3 together into a V for the front and 3 together into a V for the back.
Okay.
So first decision is what hook size you want to use, because as you read out, that will change the overall size of it. So I have put some sizings in the pattern in terms of clothes size and also measurement. So when you get the pattern, you've got enough yarn in here to make the bigger size.
Okay.
So when you get the pattern, you can then decide which size you want to make. So, I mean, generally a 4mm hook and a medium is fine. As you said, anyone can, put it on. It just might be a bit bigger or smaller. So the ice cream one was made with a 3.5mm hook, and it's come up a bit smaller. And then the mermaid and the arcade that I'm wearing are both the 4mm hook, and the one you're wearing, I didn't make all these, I only made this one. Okay. I had friends make all the samples for me, and lovely Jenny made that one, and she used a 5mm hook.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so first decision is that, and also you can adjust it as you go along, which I'll talk about a bit more in a minute. So size-wise, you can change it. So you're going to start by making one of these beautiful squares. So I'm just going to go through the colourway here. Now it talks you through, you've got 2 colourways. You've got these ones that sit on the outside. You make 4 of those, and the ones that sit in the middle, and you make 2 of those.
And what's the difference?
There's very little difference, just the order of the colours, and there's a very slight difference on the last round.
It's really obvious on yours.
Yes.
No,
it's more subtle on the others, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So just a little bit of interest. And of course, you can play around with the colours however you like.
Over half the stock of the surf has gone, by the way. Okay.
So it will tell you in the pattern which colours to start with, but you can be flexible with that if you want to. So what I'm going to do is I'll talk you through most of the square, how to assemble it, and then some of the edging. So it's got this beautiful pom-pom edging,
lovely.
which is just
Oh, you
such
made
a lot
that
of
by
fun.
crocheting?
Crocheted,
Oh,
yeah, so crochet pom-poms, and it's just such a lot of fun to make. So I don't know if you can see that, so I will cover that as well.
So basically, because you've got one ball of each of the colours, obviously black has to be, if on yours, black has to be the main colour.
Yes.
But you can, because you've got the same amount of all the colours, you
Yeah.
could decide which order you want the colours to go in, can't you? You don't have to stick to yellow on the outside or whatever. You can do it however you want to.
Yeah, so I have suggested colourways. I know people like that, so if I suggest it, but also be flexible as well. So, okay, so with the granny square itself, it's called a granny square, it's like a twist on a granny square. Obviously you get more floral shape with this one. You're going to start with a chain 4. So you put your slip knot on your hook. Okay. And then you chain 4.
See, this is what I was dreaming. I dreamt I was crocheting in my dream the other night. Yeah.
I dream about crocheting all the time, but that's quite impressive.
Oh yeah, that's a bit different. You do it all
exactly.
day, but no, I was doing chain 4 in the air.
Maybe it's a sign you need to be taught.
I know, I really should. Can I just say that single figures on surf now, and there's lots and lots in baskets, so just to warn you.
Okay, and then you slip stitch in the first chain, which is the one right here next to the knot, so the first one that you made. So you're going to put your hook, I just go underneath one loop, makes it easier. Grab the yarn and put it back under that loop and straight through the loop on your hook. And you've made a tiny little circle by doing that. So you need to find the centre of that circle because you're going to make lots of stitches in there. So if you find it tricky to find the centre of that circle, the trusty stitch markers come in really handy. Have I got one to hand? And you can just pop one of those in the centre, and then you'll always be able to find that centre as you work this round. So stitch markers, I always talk about them when I'm on. They're brilliant, really helpful. So for this first round, we're going to make clusters. So we did this with the granny square jumper, actually. It's a similar sort of format for the first round. So you chain 3, and then you make 1 treble in that ring. So you need to find that centre of it, yarn over into that ring, pull the yarn back through, which gives you 3 loops on your hook, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So when you're starting off, you make a pretend cluster. It's back to those fake stitches that we've talked about. So this chain 3 and that first treble are pretending to be your first cluster. Then you chain 1, and then in that same circle, you're going to now make a cluster. It's called a 2 treble cluster. So when you come to read the pattern, don't get confused and think you have to make 2 of them. The actual stitch is called a 2 treble cluster. So it's 1 2 treble cluster. So yarn over into the ring, and you'll notice I'm working underneath the chains that make the ring and under the tail, which means that I can then pull the tail tight at the end so that there's no hole in the middle. Pull the yarn back through, and then you're going to start your treble. So you've got your 3 loops on your hook at the moment. So grab your yarn and come through 2 of them, and that leaves 2 loops on your hook. So that's the first part of making a treble stitch, but you're actually not going to finish it. You're going to start a second treble. So where this is a 2 treble cluster, you do yarn over, you go back in, pull the yarn back through. So you've now got 4 loops on your hook. Grab the yarn and come through 2 of them, gives you 3 loops. And now you're going to, so you've got 2 little posts there that are unfinished. So you grab the yarn and you come through all 3. So for a cluster, you're joining 2 trebles together into 1 stitch at the top. So we'll do more of those later on, and it makes that little petal shape. Then, sorry, go ahead.
No. Ice cream, single figures, surf, about to go, isn't it? Oh, absolutely limited, both of these now, but both of these 2. And the graphics that are in are the one that Sam's wearing. Right, sorry, Sam.
Okay.
I just need to let them know.
No, that's great, really good. And then you chain 1. And then you're going to repeat that. So you'll do another 2 treble cluster, and you're actually going to keep repeating that chain 1, 2 treble cluster until you've got 8 little clusters, including that pretend one at the beginning. So I've got some here to show you. So you'll end up with a little ring like that.
Oh, has that got a name?
No.
No.
Round
John,
1.
No.
Centre of the
like a cartwheel.
Well, it does look like a little flower.
Yeah.
You can call it something.
Yeah, we will. We'll start making
think of
our
something.
own names up.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what it'll look like at the end of round 1 when you've made all 8 two treble clusters.
8
treble clusters. Okay.
But this is all explained, isn't it?
All explained in the pattern. So in your instructions, you get the sizing, you get a description of all the stitches, so everything's in there. So if there's a stitch in there you've not heard of before, you've got the description on the first page. So yeah, everything you need is in that pattern.
Okay.
So for the second round, you join your second colour. So for me, that is my sky. So I've called the colours letters. So in the pattern, it says at the top here, your colour order. So we've got navy, sage, sky and sax for the surf. So it says for round 2 join C.
Right.
So we're looking up.
So that also means because you've got once you've made it, you've got the pattern. You could then buy and do it in a completely different colour.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that would be really fun. Or even stash bust with it, which I know people love to do once you've got the pattern. Okay, so for round 2, we're joining a colour in any of those chain 1 spaces that you made. So any of the gaps between your clusters. So just pull your clusters apart and find a gap.
Yeah.
And you're going to put your hook through there, put a loop of your new colour on your hook, pull that through so you've got a loop coming through, and then chain 1. And that secures it. So that's how I join a colour. So that's the colour join.
So it's quite simple to join.
It is, yeah, really simple. Then you're going to chain 4. And this chain 4 here is pretending to be a treble and a chain 1.
Right.
And you're going to make a treble in that same space. So that ends up looking a little bit like a V. So this round is V stitches.
Right.
So then you do a chain 1 again. Whoops. And in the next chain 1 space, you do a treble, a chain 1 and another treble.
So this is the second colour. It literally is chains coming out from the petals of the flower beneath. It's just chains
it's almost
coming
like
out.
stalks, isn't it? Ready for the next part, which looks like the head of the flower. So yeah, so this is called a V stitch when you make this kind of stitch in a pattern. And
now it looks different when it's on there, doesn't it?
So the lovely thing that I really enjoy about crochet is every round you add to it changes the way it looks.
Yeah.
So I've put together this little bag of samples of all the different bits which we'll come to, but they all look so different and lovely as they are. It's like, oh, we could do something fun with those.
Yeah.
Okay. So you keep doing that. So it's treble, chain 1, treble into every space around. So in the pattern as well, it tells you at the end of your round, you can have a little check of how many you've got. So for example, this one says 8 V stitches. So it's always really good because there's nothing more frustrating than getting to the bit where you have to make it into a square and not having enough stitches. So it's a really good idea. I speak from experience.
Oh no.
It's a really good idea to check each round as you go along. You've got the guide at the end of each round in brackets. It tells you how many of each of those stitches you should have.
Claire says, does the pattern come with a diagram as well as written instructions?
I'm afraid not. I'm sorry about that, Claire. I know exactly what you mean. The symbol charts, they can be a really helpful thing to work from. And
so what's I don't know what that looks like.
You get each of the stitches represented by a picture rather than a written instruction, and they are brilliant. And the only reason I don't really include them in my patterns is because it's hard to find software that's easy to use.
Oh, okay.
Someone, if you're in IT or your son is your grandson or something, get them to design a really good
daughter.
Or daughter.
Yes.
That was really naughty of me.
Yes.
Yeah, gosh. Son or daughter is really good at IT. Get them to design, an app for symbol
Maybe
charts.
you should. Surely in your multitude of family, there must be somebody who does IT.
I could push them in that direction.
Yes,
Come on, make our millions. There might even be such a thing. If anyone knows of a programme like that, do let me know.
Okay.
Okay, so I've just got to the end of this round. I will have 8, let's just check,
it
V
goes
stitches.
quite quickly,
It does. Yes, 8 V stitches. Finish with a chain 1, and then you're going to slip stitch in the third of that 4 chain that you made. So you've got the joining one, and then you've got 1, 2, 3. Find the third one up, and that's where it's pretending to be a treble, and the fourth one becomes your chain 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to give you an idea how that looks. Then you fasten off. So to fasten off, you're pulling up the yarn and snipping at the top there. And then you're ready to start the next round. So I won't have time to go through all the rounds, but I'll go through just to give you a starting point. Okay, so for the next round, you're going to do, so it's round 3, and this is worked with the sacks. Okay, what would be useful to show you is where to join it, because that might be a bit confusing. Okay. So you're going to join your colour in any of the spaces between the V stitches. So if you keep in mind that your V stitches are these treble chain 1 treble spaces, you want to go in the space in between them. So put your hook into the chain 1 space in between the two of them. So it sits above a cluster. That's another way of looking at it. Because you've got 2 sets of chain 1s here. You've got one that sits in the middle of the V and one that sits between the V stitches. So just not to get muddled with that.
So it's the one between?
One between the V stitches, yeah. Okay, right, so then join your colour in there just the same as before. So pull a loop of it through. And then chain 1 to secure it. Okay, so in this space, you do a chain 1, and then you double crochet in the same space. Now you're going to find the space, the chain 1 space between the trebles, which is in the centre of your V stitch, and you're going to make a 5 treble cluster in there.
Right.
So yarn over into that space, pull back through. So you're starting your treble as normal, yarn over through 2. So you've started 1 treble. And now, so we did the 2 treble clusters on the first round. So these are 5 treble clusters. So now we're going to start a second one, and we're going to continue on until we started 5 of them.
Right.
So yarn over into that space, pull back through, gives you 4 loops, yarn over through 2. So the first part of a treble stitch is always going yarn over through 2.
Yeah.
Yarn over in, pull back the yarn, that gives you 5 loops, yarn over through 2. Leave those 4 loops on your hook, and you can see you've got 3 little posts where you started 3 trebles so far. 4th one, yarn over into that stitch, pull the yarn back through, yarn over through 2. So at the moment we've got 5 loops on the hook, and then yarn over into that space, pull back through, yarn over through 2. So we've got 5 posts and 6 loops.
Right.
Then grab the yarn and come through all 6 of them. So this can be really fiddly.
I was about to say something like difficult.
It can be a bit of a challenge. So the trick is to pull your hook up before you grab the yarn. You can see I've stretched my loops all up.
Yeah.
And I can see a space underneath each of them.
Okay, does that not make it loose or holy or anything?
As long as they're not too big, so you don't want to really stretch them up, but just give them a bit of a pull. So I'm not making any more yarn come through. I'm just pulling right to the top of my hook there. Yarn over through all of them.
You make it look really easy. So it's made like a petal then, hasn't it?
Yes, exactly. So it's pulled all 5 of those trebles into one.
Oh, I see.
So you get, and that's in the pattern, it's this bit here.
Yeah, I was just looking at mine on this one.
Yeah, so it is like a petal, that's the idea. Then you're chaining 2. And then you're going into the next chain 1 space, which sits between the V stitches, and making a double crochet in there. And that just pulls it down again.
Right.
So then you chain 2, and you make your 5 treble cluster in the next chain 1 space. Okay. And that's how you repeat it going around.
Brilliant.
Okay, so that ends up looking like so. So like I said earlier, that would be a really nice garland or something.
Yeah, no, totally.
So you've got that repeat of chain 2, 5 treble cluster, chain 2, double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to just skip ahead a little bit.
Okay, so I've got a quick question here, first of all. Oh yeah, I'm just going to have to do a roundup as well.
Okay.
Question first. Good afternoon, loving the programme, thank you. Are we able to purchase the pattern for the poncho on its own? John looking good in the blue poncho. From Yvonne, thank you Yvonne. It's not available on its own, is it?
Afraid not, no. It's all part of the kit, so it's exclusive with the kit to Yarn Lane.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, now I need to tell you about, just before we go on, I need to tell you about stock. Surf, the one I've got here. Oh, okay, now, they're still single figures, but more people in baskets than we've actually got stock. So as soon as you've checked out, well, some people are going to miss out. Some people will miss out on this. So you get your 3 balls of your 2 blues and your green, and that's your navy background. You get 2 of those, plus full instructions. I'll just show you the instructions here. You do need to supply your own crochet hook. Blimey, there's lots of pages on this. Oh, hang on. There you go. Brilliant instructions, look. So, so you got photos, you just haven't got charts, that's all.
Yes.
But oh no, but look how many photos. Oh, there's loads and loads of photos there. That's what's coming up later. We haven't shown you that bit yet, and that's the hem bit. So that's that one, that's surf. Now, once you've all checked out, well, more people have got that one in their baskets, and we've actually got stock. So if you do want it, please make sure you check out. Right, ice cream, also single figures, similar situation. More people got it in their baskets than we've got stock. Yeah, so start checking out now while we're not doing a demo, while I'm just taking you through this. If you definitely want these. So there's your 3 different colours, and there's your lovely ecru background. Beautiful, aren't they? So those again, once you've there's too many people got it in their baskets, basically. So if you definitely want it, then please. I'm not putting any undue whatever. I'm just saying, undue pressure. I'm just saying people will miss out. People are going to miss out. So it's as simple as that. So if you definitely want it, you need to check out. Right now, Mermaid, which is this one here. I've got a few of these. Yeah, you can. They can all be made in the different sizes, depending on the hook that you use. So on the picture, I'll show you Sam's family again, because how old's your youngest? 9.
9, yeah.
9,
yeah.
Through to old.
Yeah, ancient.
But anyway, so look, so there's the colours on this are beautiful, aren't they? And you can make, if you want to make the smallest one, there's enough yarn. If you want to make the biggest one, there's enough yarn. You know what I mean? It's kind of, you're not thinking, oh, do I need to buy a small one, a medium one, or a large one? You buy this and you get enough to make whichever size you want to do. Yeah, so you don't be thinking, oh, I need to buy the small or I need to buy the medium. That's how they, there's enough in there to make any size you want to. Well done, that's beautiful. Just cram that one in there. And then last but not least, we've got your one that you're wearing, the arcade. Now, please don't be frightened of the black background. I think it's so exquisite, this one. But look at the colours in here. These are just glorious colours. So you've got black as your background, your 2 black ones there. And then you've got the pink, the blue and the gold there to create that. I think it's so striking, that one. And then Sam, looking at it on Sam. There you go. Okay, strike a pose. Oh, I saw on YouTube yesterday Madonna singing Vogue in like one of her concerts, and she was so off. I couldn't believe people were liking it. And I'm like, she's off key. Anyway, let's carry on.
Okay, yes, so they do come in any size. In a minute, I'll talk to you about how you can make it bigger if you need to. So you've got all the yarn you need to make it any size. Okay, so once you've got your flower, so you'll have gone up to round 5, a really similar repeat to what we've done before. So you can see you've got the V stitches, and then this one's actually a shell stitch. So it's not a cluster, but it's even more simple because of that. And all the instructions are in there, and all those photographs that John just showed you. Then you come to the part where you have to make it into a square. So we're now on the bit where you take the circular shape of the flower and you shape it into a square. So this is where you start working with your main colour. So you join your colour in between any of the shell stitches in the double crochet space. So that's there. So underneath the V of the double crochet. So in that little stitch you made in between your shells. Then you pull that through, so let's just get joined. Okay. Then you're going to do a chain 4. And then you're going to work into that same double crochet, so under the V, and you're going to make 2 double trebles. So for a double treble, you do yarn over your hook twice before you go into the stitch. Pull the yarn back through, and that gives you 4 loops on your hook. Grab your yarn and come through 2, grab your yarn and come through 2, and grab your yarn and come through the last 2. So you've got these really tall stitches. So you've got the chain 4s pretending to be the first one, and then one of those double trebles there. Do a second double treble. So in the pattern it says, in the same space make your chain 4, 2 double trebles, chain 2, and then 3 double trebles, all in that same V. And you'll see in a moment that that just shapes it. It gives you, just going to pull some yarn from there, the corner shape of your square.
Oh, I see, yes.
So this is the sort of longer stitch that sits at the corner.
It's like an Art Deco fan, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So then you chain 2, and then you're going to make 1 double crochet in the space between the 4th and 5th of the trebles that you'll have made for your shells.
Right.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going into the gap between them.
Between 4 and 5.
Exactly. Yeah. So instead of going into a stitch, pull them apart and go into the gap that makes when you pull them apart. Right. Make a double crochet in there. Then you chain 2, and then in this next double crochet along, so in the next V, you make 3 trebles.
But it's still going through the hole?
This time into the top of the stitch.
Oh, into the top of the stitch,
yeah.
sorry.
So I'll show you the difference that makes. Yeah. So what you're trying to do is make a straight edge along the top of your square.
Oh, I see.
So you've done a corner, you've done your chain 2 and a double crochet in the space.
Yeah.
Chain 2, and then working, because the double crochet is in the dip between the shells, you put your 3 trebles in there and it shapes it. So you're trying to make a straight edge with a square shaped frame. 2 chain, and then between the 4th and the 5th, again make a double crochet, chain 2, and now we're going to make another corner. So into the next double crochet, you're going to make 3 double trebles. Oops, lost it off my hook there. Oh. So it's going to be 3 double trebles. That's 2. Then a chain 2. And then you've got another 3 double trebles. Just have a moment of doubt there. Have I really done that? Getting ahead of myself. Okay, and that makes the next corner. Oh, I have dropped those off. I'll tell you what, this yarn, where it's really nice and quality, it's holding on to the ball. Right.
What does that mean? It won't come out?
It's, yeah, it's not just automatically coming off the ball.
Oh, okay.
I'm having to pull it when I'm ready for it. Okay, so you can see that's made the next corner. So if I hold it like that, you can see a bit better. You've got corner, straight edge, corner. And then you'll continue that around. So you've got, I'll just do one more side to give you the idea. Chain 2, double crochet between the 4th and 5th, chain 2, 3 trebles in the top of the double crochet. So this is all in the pattern, and there's photographs. Chain 2, double crochet between the 4th and 5th, chain 2, and then you want to another corner, so you can see it's making that square shape.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
So it doesn't matter where you start doing the first one, does it? Because
no, any of those double crochets, yeah, exactly. Any of the double crochet stitches between the shells, so you've got 8 of those to choose from.
Brilliant.
And then if I just show you on here, you can see, I don't know how well it will show it up, but you've got this framework we just did, makes this edge here. Yeah. And then you do another round in your main colour. So it's the French navy on this one.
Exactly the same?
Exactly. Yes, almost. You're putting 1 treble into everything for that round, but it just sort of frames it. The idea is it's framing the flower shape.
Yeah.
Then you put a final round on. So if you've worked granny squares before, you'll be really familiar. This is sort of a solid granny square concept where you're doing 1 treble into every stitch, and in the corners, just like I did with these ones, you're making several trebles and then chain space and then several trebles. Now, with this very last row here, some of the corners I've put trebles in and some of them I've put double trebles in. So just read the pattern carefully when you get to it.
Oh, you've done that on purpose?
I've done that on purpose. And I've suggested that you put a stitch marker as you go along when you make your double treble corners, put a stitch marker in it. So when you make a double treble, it's a taller, longer stitch. So the idea is, then when you come to join them together, your double trebles are sitting at the bottom, and your trebles are at the top, so it gives you a little bit of shaping so that it comes out slightly, so it sits over your shoulders and chest. So that's where, so when my lovely sample makers, so Lindsay made the mermaid, Claire made the ice cream, as I said, Jenny made the surf. When they were working on it, they always give me really helpful feedback as to which bits they found tricky and things. So one of the elements that was a bit tricky was working out where the double trebles were and where the trebles were. So trebles are all going to sit at the top around your neck, and the double trebles are going over your shoulders and down to the point here, back over your shoulders. If you've marked them with a stitch marker as you go, you're just matching up the stitch markers when you come to assemble it. And you can even pin it together, which Lindsay found really helpful with her mermaid one. So pin it all together before you try to join it. So I just wanted to show you that so you can come back and look at it on YouTube when you get to that point and just make sure you've got that right. So when you join them together, you've made all your 6 squares, you join them together, and you're going to join them together by double crocheting or sewing, whichever you feel happiest with. I've done it double crochet, so you can see along the back there. When you're coming to join them, you put your 2 right sides facing, and then you put your hook through the corner space of both of the squares, and you pull some yarn through and make a double crochet, and then you double crochet into every stitch along, going through both sides of the square. So I've shown you this before on the jumper. So if you can't, if you find that a bit tricky, you can look at the jumper tutorial as well. I've demonstrated it on the show, and you'll end up with 2 parts that are 3 squares each, so 2 V's, front and back. Now, what you might want to do now is pin them together or loosely stitch them or stitch marker them together, pop them over your head and just check you like the fit of it over your shoulders.
Right, because that's only going to here. It's only going to
this
bit
exactly.
Here,
so you might be, I mean, the ice cream one, for example, it looks quite narrow over the shoulders. So at this point, you haven't joined the shoulders. If you think I want a bit more room, which is what Jenny, who made the surf, thought, you can then add some rows at the top here. So on here,
so I've got a stripe down my there.
John's got some extra rows along the shoulders there.
And there's enough yarn to do, because this is the big one as well, isn't
exactly. So there's enough yarn in any of them to do that. So, and then if you do that I've written the instructions in the pattern, so don't worry, the instructions are all there. So if you do some extra rows along here where it's going to sit over your shoulders, you'll have 2 identical V's, so on both places. Then when you join it together, it will sit a little bit larger. So if you want one of the larger sizes, that's a really good way of doing it. So again, the instructions are all in the pattern as to how to adjust that.
Brilliant.
If you're happy with the fit, just move on to the next stage in the pattern. So the only one that's got that on is the surf. Okay, so then you'll join them all together. So you'll have a little bit that goes over the top of your head, and it's joined all the way from front to back. So then,
you've got a mini, at this point, you've got a mini poncho.
Exactly, like a little neck warmer or something. Yeah, exactly. Then you're going to start working around it.
Right.
So you're treating it then like the body of a jumper or something. So you're going all the way around. So this is where, again, you can have fun with the colours if you like. So I've done a couple of stripes in the brighter colours. So you can see on here there's a pink and a blue. You've got a green and a light blue. And so I have told you what colours in the pattern, but again, you've got enough yarn to play about with that. And then you move on to doing the main colour, so this sort of block that you get in the main colour.
Okay, can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
Is it not, because when I'm used to watching people doing crochet, the largest I've seen them do is a square that big, whereas now you've got a whole mini poncho joined together. So the piece of work you're working with is actually this big, isn't it? It's not just a single square.
Yeah, so if you imagine it's going to be, you're working around double the width of this longest side. Yeah, so this cotton is just so lovely to hold. It's not heavy or anything.
Fine. I haven't seen it,
so you're just working around and around now.
Yeah. Okay. So we're doing this holy bit now,
So I'll just demonstrate the holy bit, So you'll have done another couple of rows in the solid colour, okay, and that's really straightforward. That's just doing trebles into each of the stitches. So again, it's talked through in the pattern. Then you'll get to the bit where you need to then adjust to granny stripe. So anything that's made in little groups of 3 stitches with gaps between them tend to be called a granny something.
Okay.
So you can't tell quite so much, so I'm wearing a black top under here in mine, but they've all got those little gaps where they've got the 3 trebles, then the little gap, then another 3.
Oh, look. There you go.
That's it. So that's called a granny stripe.
Right.
Okay, so you'll have your whole sort of tubular look where you've got them all joined. They'll be joined at the shoulders, and so they'll be sort of sitting on top of each other. So you've got your 6 squares.
Yeah.
And then you're going to join in the corner. Oh, in fact, I think I'm going to join where I told you to join, which is in the V's at the bottom. So you've got your 2 points at the bottom. So that's it. There's one there that I've got a stitch marker in, and it's basically the bit that falls down to a point here. Ooh, I can't, can't follow it along on that.
No, it's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so join it on the back though, on the one that you want to be the back. So they won't look any different at this point. So just have a look at them and think, oh, I think that side looks neater. I'll use that as the front.
Yeah.
Join in the chain 2 space. Again, pull through a loop of your main colour, chain. And then you're going to do a chain 3, 2 trebles. And then a chain 2, 3 trebles. So that chain 3 I did at the beginning counts as your first treble. So it's like you've got 2 little groups of 3. And again, that chain 2 makes your point. So that's the bit that forms the triangle at the front and the back. I'll take the stitch marker out because it's going to get in the way. And then this is for the row where you come to set up your granny square row. Let's just have a look at what number I've called it in the pattern. So, hang on, I'm leafing through the pattern here, so much of it. This is round 3 in the pattern, because I've started again when you get to the body. So you've done 2 stripes in the main colour, and then you're doing your granny stripe. So for round 3 on page 10, when it gives you an idea of how long the pattern is, it's just because I could put so much detailing, so I want to help people.
No, but it's good. No, it's brilliant.
Okay, so you get to this point, you skip 2 trebles, so 1, 2, and in the third one, working under the V, and you're on the front of it, so you're looking at the front where the V's are facing up towards you, you're going to make 3 trebles. So 1, 2, 3. So that's your little group of 3. Then you skip 2, 1, 2, and in the third one you make another 2. And that's what you're going to continue all the way around to the next point, which is now going to, because you start on the back, it'll be the one that you'll have on your front.
Yeah.
So skip 2.
So is this what missing when you skip 2? Does that make the whole?
Yes, the skipping makes the whole,
yeah.
Exactly, between the 2 groups of 3. 3 trebles, skip 2, make 3 trebles in the third. Okay, and I'll just show you how that looks. And that looks like so.
Okay.
Let me just put my hand under it so you can see, because it's a bit dark, that blue. So you've got those gaps there.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you come to work the next round, you're working into these gaps between the groups.
So you go all the way around the whole
all
diamond.
The way around,
okay.
Yeah, join it. So you go all the way around it.
Yeah.
You'll slip stitch along to the chain space. It's all in the instructions. Yeah. And then you start again, doing exactly what I've just done again, but this time your 3 trebles will go in this gap, the one between the 3 trebles. And that gives this sort of granny stripe.
Yeah,
look.
and you do that about 9 times, do you? I've just counted.
Yes, so you do. Now, this is where, if you're using a different hook size and if you've put the stripes on the shoulders, depending on colours and things, you might find you can't get as many rows in as some of the others.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Some of these we've gone up 10 or 11 rows and some are 9.
Mine's 9.
Yeah, so but the good thing is because yours is made with a bigger hook, it doesn't hang any shorter.
No.
If anything, it's lower. So
that's 10.
So there's a bit of variation, and that's what you'll find. Now in the pattern,
11. This one's 11.
So basically, I've put Keep going until you run out of yarn, because that's going to be the last. I've also put keep back 10 grams for the neckline.
Oh, right.
But that's going to be pretty much the last of the main colour. Now, you might want it shorter, because, I mean, I've said before on this show, I'm quite tall. I'm 5'8", and it's hanging quite low. So if you want it shorter, stop earlier.
But you can keep just trying to put it over your head.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you want it to use up as much as you can of it, a little tip for working out, if you don't want to play yarn chicken, a little tip for working out if you've got enough yarn is to weigh it. So as you get towards the end, weigh your yarn before you start a round. I mean, this is great if you've got digital scales, especially. Just your cooking scales are fine. Work your round and weigh your yarn again, and then you can work out how much weight you've used for the rounds as you get towards the end.
But aren't the rounds getting bigger as
They're
you go
getting a little bit bigger, but it's marginal at that point.
I was about to say, how do you know to keep, when you say keep 10 grams for your neck, do you actually weigh 10 grams?
Well, I really recommend weighing, If you want to get as much as you can out of your yarn, you can't beat weighing it.
Okay.
Now, my rounds, as I got to the end here, we're using about 15 grams of yarn. So that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, you can.
There'd be nothing worse. You get halfway around, you think I haven't got enough.
Well, it happens. It does, and and people are often posting about yarn chicken and things. I think poor Claire, who was making the ice cream one, almost got an extra row of the ecru out of hers and then run out. So that's what led me to start weighing it.
Okay.
So then the very bottom edge is carrying on the granny stripe, but in your colours that you've got left.
Yeah.
Again, you can be weighing those. And what you need to do is keep back 10 grams of your main colour, or any colour you like for your neckline. Just double crochets all the way around. And 35 grams if you want this pom-pom edge, because it's quite yarn heavy.
Okay.
So if you want to do the pom-pom edge, you're going to need to keep back 35 grams.
Can you show us how to do a pom-pom edge in 5 minutes?
I can. So if you are getting towards the end and you're thinking, what colour shall I keep back? I don't think I've even said in the pattern what colour. You can use whichever colour you've got more of, or whichever colour you fancy, but just start thinking as you get towards the end of these stripes how much yarn you want to keep back and which colour you want to work with. So if you want to do the pom-poms, you're going to need 35 grams of yarn.
But you could almost do the pom-poms in all the colours of the whole thing.
You could. You'd have to stop-start. I'll show you why now.
Okay.
It would mean a bit of stop-starting, but I'll show you why.
Is there enough? If you did one row less of your black, could you do your pom-poms on yours in black?
Yes.
Because I think that yours would look lovely.
That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yeah. And I've got quite a lot of rows out of my colours here. So, you can be weighing those. So these ones, as it got towards the end, I was weighing, and you needed 18 grams for this bit.
Perfect.
Okay. So for the pom-pom edge, I'm actually going to do it on here because you need a granny square look to it.
Okay.
So for the pom-pom edge, turn your poncho. By now you've got a big poncho. Yeah. Turn it inside out, because the pom-poms look better when they're made inside out. So that's just the way they sit. I've worked them, and the lovely ladies that made them for me have worked them from the inside so that you're actually looking at the other side of it, but that's the nicer edge. So turn it inside out, start again at the back chain 2 corner, join your colour, whichever one you've decided on, in there, and then chain 6. Hang on, I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4,
I wasn't saying anything,
5, 6. And you're going to make a 4 treble cluster in the 3rd chain from the hook. So you've got your loop on your hook that doesn't count, and then you've got the first one, which is the one that this yarn here is coming out of. So that's 1, 2. Find the 3rd one along, do your yarn over, and I just go under 1. It makes it much easier under 1 strand. Pull the yarn back through. So again, we're back to clusters. Yarn over, come through 2 of them. Leave those 2 loops on your hook, start another treble, just like you did with the other clusters earlier on in the pattern. So for each treble, you go yarn over, come through 2, and leave the remaining loops on your hook. So I've got to my 4th one, and you'll have 5 loops when you've done that 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 little posts and 5 loops. Give it a big pull up, yarn over through all of those. And you've made that little shape there. Now you're going to slip stitch in here to join it all together to make a pom-pom look to it. If you want to make it a bit tighter, at this point you might want to go underneath 2 strands. So I'm going to turn mine a bit sideways and get underneath 2 loops of the hook there. Just makes it a bit tighter. In fact, have I split the yarn there? I think I have. There we go. Okay, and then you're slip stitching, so grab the yarn, come through there and straight through the loop on your hook, and that makes your pom-pom. So
oh, yeah,
it looks like that at this stage. If I do
brilliant is that?
It's really fun. It's such a fun thing to make. Chain 3. You'll be able to see it a bit better then. And that's what it looks like. Now we're looking at the back of it in a moment because we're working on the inside of the poncho. So if I turn the whole thing over, it looks prettier on the other side.
And then how many do you go in? When do you go back in?
So then you'll have your granny stripe at the edge that you'll have done in your colours. So you skip over your 3 trebles of your granny stripe, find the next gap and put a double crochet in there. So yarn over. So you're just going to the gaps between the granny stripe, between the 3 trebles that make your granny stripe. And that's what it will look like.
How brilliant. Just keep going all the way around the bottom.
Keep going all the way round, yeah.
So why couldn't you change colour? Why is it difficult to
It's not really difficult, you just get ends, so there's nothing to stop you. You could do a few in one colour and then change colour.
I didn't mean every other one be a different colour, but you could almost like a scrappy binding on a quilt, do 10 pink and then 10 yellow.
Yeah, you really could. That would be really fun. And then you don't have this whole problem of keeping back your whole 35 grams of yarn.
That's what I was thinking.
So
you haven't done that.
You could just use your bits and bobs that you've got
brilliant.
left.
That's absolutely brilliant. Right, I now need to go. We're going to run out of time, so I now need to go through the 4 bundles. Okay, the one that Sam's wearing is called Arcade. Ooh. So in Arcade, you get a ball of gold, a ball of blue, a ball of pink, 2 balls of black, and your instructions. No hook. £44.50. So it's all cotton as well, remember. It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful yarn. And that will make that. Okay. Mermaid next, which is this one here. Right, here we go. So we've got, you get 2 of the soft grey. Yeah, that's right. 1 of the lavender, 1 of the magenta, and 1 of the bright blue. And then the instructions in there as well. All right, fewer than 20 of those left. Fewer than 20 of those left. Okay. Then, now, which one's winning now then? Oh, ice cream's in the lead. They're both single figures, but there are more people got them in baskets than we've got stock. So now is the time to check out. Yeah, we also know with Yarn Lane it works differently here, but everyone watches and then checks out straight after the show, so please be careful. So you get your 2 balls of your ecru, your green, your blue and your pink, or your lilac, plus your instructions will make that one. It's beautiful, but there are too many of you have got that one in your basket. So some of you will get, when you come to check out, it will say sold out. So please, because putting it in your basket doesn't mean it's yours, that's all. And then last but not least, we've got Surf, which is this one. More people got this in their baskets than we've got stock. Blue, green, pale blue, and then the French Navy, 2 of those, plus your instructions. Yarn Lane is on again on Friday. Wool Couture. Oh, weaving kits, new techniques. That'll be with Wendy. Wendy's on. Do you know who the guest is? Carrie Gardner with Wendy Gardner. No relation. And that's it. Thank you ever so much. That was brilliant.
Welcome.
Absolutely
Thank you.
Brilliant. When are you in next? You know?
3rd of May.
Oh, not long. 3rd of May.
Yeah.
What day of the week's that?
Monday.
Oh, I'm not in that day. That's the one day I'm not in. That'll be Rebecca on that. Oh, I know why. 3rd of May, very important day. Okay, I've got to go now. Thank you so much. Make sure you check out your baskets. I'm back on Sewing Street on Saturday and Sunday this week, so please join me then. Wendy's in for the next 2 days on both of them. So thank you so much, and make sure you check out your baskets. See you soon.